Because now looking even further on our diagram, if now I would send traffic from, let's say, PCB, but destined, let's say, to VLAN 31, this traffic is going to match none of my twice NAT statements. So ASA is not going to match on a NAT statement from the twice NAT statements from section 1. It's going to then look in section 2 in the auto NAT, and then this is going to get natted via the object NAT configuration into the IP address of the ASA on the outside interface. Let's confirm that. So let's fire up a new telnet session on PCB. Keep both of them opened. And let's telnet to router 3 on the other VLAN of 31. Telnet 136.1.31.1. And this should match on the object NAT statement. 31.3.1. 136.1.31.3. It should work. Well, it doesn't work because the inbound ACL of the ASA does not allow the traffic. Let's fix that up to begin with. So this traffic flow doesn't work because I have an inbound ACL in here, which controls traffic flowing inside outside and doesn't allow traffic destined to VLAN 31. So let's fix that to begin with. And then we can test the traffic. Let's go on ASA 3 and say show run access list inside in. And let's say conf-t access list inside in. And let's say permit IP from VLAN 33 to, let's say, the host of 136.1.31.3. Is good enough for what I need. Let's go on PCB and tell it again now. And now it should work. And I should get added into the ASA's IP address. Connect failed. Let's say clear logging buffered. And let's make sure that show logging include 10, 10, 32, 100. Let's make sure that this session is not being dropped. It's still a deny. So I have misconfigured something. Show run access list inside in. I said the last line allow. It seems like the ACL that I've configured didn't. Well, there you go. I had a typo in in. That was the problem. So I didn't fix the typo in in. So I misconfigured the ACL. Let's say no this, and let's say access list inside in, and then permit that traffic flow. And now let's go back again on PCB and telnet finally to router 3, Cisco, and we should see who that traffic is being seen from the ASA's interface IP address. And there we go. This is the active session, where a session shows up to be initiated from the ASA's IP address of 38.1 because I match on the object NAT statement now. If we say show xlate, we have matched on, where's the configuration? There we go, and this NAT is not there. From inside to 38, NAT inside, outside, not static, TCP path, not that one. There we go, it's this one. So as traffic flows from the inside to the outside, I'm gonna NAT the source of PCB 10.10.100 into the ASA's interface IP address. That's gonna be likewise a dynamic path entry, but I match on object NAT this time. If we say show connection long, we should see the same thing. We just come in here, traffic flowing to router tree's address. PCB got NATed into the ASA's outside interface IP address. We can of course simulate those packet flows with packet tracer. Likewise, if we say packet tracer input inside, let's take all of those packet flows via packet tracer to verify also our configuration. We're gonna use packet tracer to simulate traffic going from PCB outbound to loopback 0 router 3. It should match on the twice NAT configuration. Traffic going from PCB outbound to VLAN 38. It should match on the twice NAT statement, likewise. And traffic going from PCB to VLAN 31, which should match on the object NAT statement. And let's confirm that. So packet tracer input inside TCP from host TCP 10.10.33.100 random source port number destined to the loopback router 3 5553 on port 23 detailed. Let's look in the NAT step. There you go, phase 5 NAT. Which what we see in here is on which NAT statement I matched, which is a twice NAT statement. And the fact that I'm going to dynamically put that NAT statement, I'm going to dynamically translate PCB 10.10.33.100 into 136.138.90. If we change the packet tracer that I'm going to trace route, I'm going to send a simulated packet from PCB, but this time to VLAN 38, 136.1.38.100 or .3. Should get netted into .80 via twice NAT statement. So there we go, phase 4 NAT, which now says I match on this twice NAT rule, which says to dynamically translate the source of PCB into .80 this time. And if we simulate the packet going to now VLAN 31, so 31.3, I should match on the object NAT statement. So phase number 4, which is NAT, I matched on object NAT configuration, where it's going to be a dynamic object NAT that configuration, which says to dynamically translate 10.10.33 PCB into the interface address of the ASA, which is 38.1. Now let's also look from the GUI side, because I haven't showed you how to configure NAT from the GUI side. So Cisco ASDM, let's say a refresh now. Let's re-authenticate Cisco on the ASDM login. And if we go to configuration and then to firewall and then to NAT rules, we should see of course all NAT rules configured in there. And of course they are divided into those sections in the ASDM as well. So first we have the manual NAT section, and then we have the object NAT section. So section 1 and section 2. Let's edit any of them. Let's edit one of the twice NAT statements. Of course, you would go in here and say just add. And then you configure the type of object NAT rule. If you just say add, you can say if you want to add a object NAT rule, or if you want to add a twice NAT rule. Let's edit any of those in there. Let's edit one of the twice NAT rules. So how you do it, how you read, what is the logic of the ASDM is likewise very simple. Up here it's matching criteria the original packet. That's what it says there. It says matching criteria original packet, where what you're saying, you're putting in here the ingress interface and the egress interface, which in my case is inside outside. So the ingress interface and the egress interfaces, you specify them in there. And then you put in there the source address, the real one, because it says original packet, and destination address, we put in there the mapped one, because this is the original packet as seen by the ASA. And then the second box is action translated packet, where you first specify what kind of NAT are you performing, what kind of source NAT are you performing, dynamic or static. For destination NAT, you cannot choose that. You have to do it statically. It makes sense. It doesn't make sense to dynamically NAT the destination. And then in here, we're saying what is the mapped source address, and what is, so you're saying what is the mapped source address, mapped source, and then what is the real destination, not the map destination. So it could be a bit confusing, but again, the way you read this criteria in there is where it states match criteria original packet. It doesn't mean you're going to put in there the real addresses, source and destination. You're going to put in there how the ASA receives the packet originally before doing translation. And then when the ASA translates the packet, then what does it translate? Source, destination, both, and how does it translate? Because, for example, and let me explain this to make a lot more sense in there. If I would choose to NAT PCB, which is visible as, so PCB is 1010 33100, 1010 33100, and let's say I would want to NAT that PC is into 136.1.38.100, let's say, into 136.1.38.100. And also loopback 0.3 is 5553, and I would want to NAT that loopback into, let's say, 10.10.33.3 on the inside interface. So this means that I could configure this rule, both of those NAT statements. I could configure both of them via a single twice NAT rule, or I would configure both source NAT and destination NAT at the same time. Which means that if when PCB initiates the session, when PCB would initiate the IP flow, what PCB would send to the ASA, like the original packet that the ASA receives, is going to be with a source of 1010 33.100. So the real source, and a destination of 10.10.33.3, because that's how loopback of router 3 5553 is visible on the inside as 10.10.33.3. So that's how PCB is going to initiate the traffic, which this destination is actually the mapped destination, not the real destination. So this is what you would configure in the original packet matching criteria. That's why you have to put in there the real source and the map destination, because this is what the ASA receives. And then as traffic flows through the ASA, and it does both source and destination NAT to the ASA, then the second box in here is going to be the translated packet matching criteria, where of course I'm going to NAT both the source. The source gets NATed into 136.1.38.100. This is the map source. And destination gets likewise natted into destination being 5553. But this is actually the real destination. So that's why it could be a bit confusing, but if you understand how the ASA receives the packet, which is the original packet, it is going to make sense that what you have to configure in the GUI part in here. Cancel. And then for an object NAT configuration, let's edit one of those two object NAT entries, or one of those few, or how many we have. Let's say one of them. Let's say edit. Object NAT configuration wise, it's clearly is going to be easier to understand also from the GUI. You just give a name to the object group in here. You configure the type of the object group, which has to be network. Then you specify what is the member of the object group, like the host or the subnet. In my case, it's going to be a subnet. So this portion is only for configuring the object, not the object group, the object, where you define the object name, which has to be of type network, and then you say what does this object contain. In my case, it contains a subnet. It could contain a host or a range. And then in the second part, you define NAT, where you just specify which kind of NAT, dynamic NAT or static NAT. And then you're saying into what do you translate. In my case, I'm translated into the interface of the ASA, into the outside interface of the ASA. So in the GUI, the object NAT is simpler, easier to digest. To understand twice NAT from the GUI, you always have to look at the traffic flow as we looked up in here. You always have to look up on the traffic flow to better understand the fact that the ASA receives traffic initially with a source of the real address, real source, destination of the map source. So this is the original packet criteria when you do twice NAT, and then when traffic gets routed, then source becomes the map source and destination becomes the real destination. And this is going to be the translated matching criteria on the ASA GUI configuration. So in the original packet criteria or original packet criteria, you match on the real source and on the map destination. On a translated packet criteria, you're going to configure in there the map source translated, the map source and the real destination.